Nothing is worth anything. It's all a question of fashion and taste. How bad do you want it?
Yeah.
Do you desire it?
Right,
Do you need it? If you don't desire it, skip it.
Today, we're moving in the world of interior design, with two voices who really shape the way we imagine our homes. Stellene Volandes, editor-in-chief of Town & Country and ELLE DECOR, and the award-winning designer Miles Red. Together, they explore how interiors go far beyond function and become a form of imagination and storytelling.
I'm Stellene Volandes. I'm the editor of Town & Country and the editorial director of ELLE DECOR.
I'm Miles Red. I'm one of the partners of Red Kai, a decorating firm in New York City.
You say you remember how we first met. I don't, but I will tell you the first time I became aware of you. It's the top hat picture in House and Garden.
I mean...
Okay, it is though. I mean, I can still picture when I saw that and I said, number one, who is this? Number two, how did they get him to do it?
Well, I art director myself.
Now that I know you, the second question is easier to answer. But I do really think that is one of the iconic images.
You're awfully kind to say that. It's funny. I was a child of 1930s movies. And I knew that when someone said, oh, we want to take your portrait, that was going to be a sort of a rarefied thing in my life. I mean, because it ain't happening anymore. I knew they were photographing my house, that mirrored bathroom.
So you had an apartment on 14th Street, and you named it Rue 14.
I
think that's very telling.
Well, I used to joke because 14th Street between Avenue B and Avenue C is like the opposite of Paris, France. But I was always like trying to, as they say, gild the lily. And so I jokingly referred to it as Rue 14 with the bathtub in the kitchen. My friend Paul Costello was taking the picture, and he was, one of my dearest friends.
Yeah.
And I said, I want to be in black tie and a top hat, jumping, leaping into the air a la Fred Astaire. And he's like, oh, I'm into it. And actually, you can see him and my godson. It's in the reflection that really no one really, if you don't stop to look at it.
I think that is on the mood boards of so many editors, because I mean, House and Garden did this really well, of really sort of taking that Shelter magazine formula and breaking through it. And there is so much personality in the design world, and letting those moments happen and show those, the sort of minds and spirits and
Exuberance
behind the rooms, right? Like you see that and you sort of understand your rooms too.
How did you find yourself here? Because to be an editor-in-chief takes so much, and there's so many skills that one has to be good at. I went
to college at Vassar, which is just about 2 hours away.
Know it well.
So by sophomore year, I was an English major, and I kind of decided I want to be a magazine editor. I interned at ELLE DECOR, and I interned at New York Magazine, and then at Ralph Lauren Home and Hermes, and so I kind of, I knew pretty quickly this was the world I wanted to be in, and a lot of people that went to Vassar were in publishing. And so I interned at Condé Nast with the legendary Sarah Slavin in their HR department.
Wow.
Where I took a typing test. and then I interviewed with Michael Boudreau, who's my first boss there.
What a great first boss. One, you're incredibly fabulously charming to sit next to at a dinner party. You have an amazing eye. You're interested in so many things, from art to jewelry to fashion to houses to clothes. It's all of these different curious, is the word métiers? How do you get to do that?
Well, I think both at TNC and ELLE DECOR, both those brands have such a specific lens that you can look very broadly, but then your focus is very sharp.
Right.
So I think, I get up in the morning and read the paper, read Instagram, and you think sort of where's the TNC in this story? Where's the ELLE DECOR in this story? And the job really of editors is to create each brand a sort of point of view, a voice, and a lens that is so specific that actually sort of taking a lot of stories and placing them in each brand. That's sort of, once you have that structure, it sort of is much easier.
I love that you're like totally obviously in flow and doing the right thing, and that you work for such nice, talented, kind people.
It's so interesting to think how the people you work for or around, how influential they are.
This, I would say the exact same thing, same of myself. I started as a film major at NYU. Like I was a film major, that's why the movie reference is.
Yes.
But I worked for a producer right when I graduated, and I was just like, this is not for me. One, it like just seemed like the hardest thing in the world to get a movie made. To get it, like Tom Ford can barely get a movie made. I was always fascinated by the sets and always doing the sets. And I was working for a decorator, and she's like, oh, John Rosselli is looking for someone. And I walked in, and I just had an immediate sense of like home. And like I worked for John for 2 years, and then I went and worked for Bunny for 5 years. And having those two as my mentor was the gift amongst gifts. Everything has a formula if you study it long enough.
Except the trick, and you do this so well, and I really try and do it, is you have a formula, so you have this structure. You have a signature style, right? If someone sort of walks into a room and it's red, they might think it's Miles, right?
I think it's like a densely layered sensibility that feels slightly modern, that people often say. They're like, it doesn't feel quite, I mean, I love old lady stuff. I really do. I just like, it's a heyday for me because nobody wants it, and I'm like, but I'll make it look good.
How do you make it look good though? I think that's the magic of what you do, but if you had to articulate how you take old lady and make it not old lady.
Well, I feel like it is, I like a strong, clear color background.
Okay.
And white's one of my favorite colors, but I feel like, you know, if I learned any lessons from Oscar de la Renta, like everything looks better against Taxicab. Do you know what I mean? Like
did he used to say that?
Well, no, but his living room was Taxicab yellow, and like, I mean, that's Nancy Land. The colors have been around, they've been there, but it like there's something about like the strong juxtaposition of color and sort of antiquities that give you a modern feeling. I think that's one thing. Every single decade gives us something great. And to be able to pick one thing from each and put them all together, I think is a good skill that, you know, you get that tension.
Did you always have that? Because that takes confidence, right? To say, I'm going to use that from that decade, that from that decade.
You know, with practice comes perfection, and I've been doing it a long time. So you sort of have learned that disparate elements create a kind of tension in decorating that makes a room feel chic or unusual or different. And it's like you can have, I mean, we've all seen, you know, the straw basket on the Boule commode. Those sort of like, we've all seen the, you know, Rothko above an 18th century console. Those are the sort of the wide, you know, gestures of that kind of idea. But the more you do it, the more you can do it on sort of a smaller scale. For me, like culturally speaking, I would say it's really always a reflection of who's living there. Like I am just a guide to help you not make mistakes and to give you what you want at the end of the day. And usually I want the, you know, like the client's personality to come out. And it does.
What do you do if a client comes to you and sort of asks for like an all-white room?
I love that. I love that. One, because it makes me think in a different way. I have so many minimalist clients, which I love because they're all like, I'm like, why do you pick me? And like, you push me, like I take 9% from like the 100% that you're giving, and I get what I want.
Do you live with the sort of layered aesthetic?
Oh my God, yes, my apartment is just like, aching. The walls are so filled with stuff. I have to like edit. I just like, and I'm reaching that point. It's taken me a while to kind of like get there. But that's the thing about objects is like you only get to enjoy them while you're around. And like as much as I deal with them and I do become attached, don't get me wrong, but like it all goes away. The other thing that I think is fascinating is how objects travel through time and space. And the other thing that I ultimately believe is you get the items that were meant for you.
Oh, I love that.
Do you know what I mean? You bought something in an auction, I can't remember, but it was some sort of jewel, and I was like, oh, I'm so glad she got that. And
there's something I would like to come back to.
I know, me too. me too, but I felt like, I was like, oh, you know, like, that 40 karat aquamarine was meant for Stellene.
I did not buy a 40 karat aquamarine, everyone listening. But no, I think not to get to, but these objects have souls and stories.
Yes.
And I think it's so important to highlight that. And I think there is a community that keeps those stories alive.
The auction houses, I really think, are the real treasure trove of stories, and like also just the auction catalogs alone. That's where I've educated myself, truly, because they tell you so much, not only about the provenance of who it belonged to and where it went from and who's it come from, but like,
I mean, one of my favorite things is to be around decorators during a really big auction, because the competition is ferocious and deadly.
The lesson is, nothing is worth anything. It's all a question of fashion and taste.
Yeah.
And like things that are worth $1 gazillion right now may be worth 10 cents tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's only the desirability factor of something. So like our guiding factor is like, how bad do you want it?
Yeah.
Do you desire it?
Right,
do you need it? If you don't desire it, skip it.
Yeah. When people talk about print versus digital, and I say, you know, if you look, what they're building now are temples to retail, right? There are restaurants, there are coffee shops, there's, you know, I mean, there are places to get your hair blown out.
Yes.
And if you want to create something, you have to make it so people have a reason to come in. I mean, the same way with print, you have to give people a return on that investment of time, of money. It has to, right? Like, yes, last night I went online and shopped, but like, I would love to go into Bergdorf's and sort of have that moment of discovery and then go have like a Gotham salad.
Tell me this though, like the temples of shopping that are being built, do you miss the little man? Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that is harder in this day and age where like you stumble into a weird, funny specialty shop in the East Village. Do you think that feels harder? Or is it happening in Brooklyn and I just haven't been there enough?
It's happening. We are oversaturated with information, content, inspiration. What stands out is the really special and the really good. You know, it just does. And the curveball. I mean, I think going back to like what we were talking about, the formulas, you have to give people what they want, but then you have to keep surprising them, because being boring is not luxury.
And it's not an option anymore.
It's not an option.
Yeah, it's not an option anymore. What is the difference between the decorative personality and sort of more of the fashion personality, or the
Well, I think the creative personality is the same. I think the sort of design personality hasn't gotten as much attention.
You're saying interior design.
Yeah, interior design, you know, decorators. I think the room has become so front and center. And I think the client has also. And I think, you know, we did the A-list this year, and we did portraits of some of the A-list
They were so
people,
good.
And they were funny.
The one of Gil Schaefer.
Yeah.
I have it framed.
Yeah,
it's like I was like the best picture ever of him. If you could have any person's jewelry collection, living or dead, whose would it be?
Well, for me, it's also about the woman.
Sure.
Right? So I would like Suzanne Belperon's because I love both her jewelry and I love everything she stands for. And I would like Maria Callas's because I want to know where all that jewelry went.
God, yes. Where did it go?
Slightly mysterious.
Kind of.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw Linda Porter.
Yes,
Cole Porter's
Linda
why-
Porter's, yes.
Linda Porter.
That's a
Cole
lot
Porter's
of Verdura and
why.
Belperon, so I get that.
But
yeah.
also just I loved her kind of streamlined clips. Do you
Yes.
know what I mean? Cigarette cases. There's something that I loved. I feel like I'm gonna throw Jane Reitzman on the pile.
Yeah, no, it's,
Just because
yeah.
diamond mines, baby.
Yes, yeah.
Coco Chanel, maybe, even though it's probably not jewels, it's probably all paste, as Mama would say.
Paste is fascinating. Well, I'll tell you. So we are next year is Town and Country's 180th anniversary.
It's kind of incredible.
It's incredible and it's daunting, and you know, anniversaries are so tough because, especially for a brand like Town and Country, you want to respect it and celebrate it. You don't want it to get too precious, which is why, like, you know, we did 175th anniversary with John Waters on the cover.
I love
like,
that.
very deliberate. Like,
Yeah.
that was a curveball.
I loved it.
And so you want it to feel like we're not like celebrating and half dead.
Yeah,
you
you're not
know?
living on your laurels.
Yes, I think for both TNC and Elle Decor, it should feel like a reflection of the moment it's being published in, right? So, I mean, for Town and Country, there always needs to be one story in the issue that reflects something that someone's reading in the paper today. It cannot feel like a time capsule. And even with Elle Decor, I mean, less so, but it needs to have a kind of specificity of language and references that feels connected
To the zeitgeist.
To the zeitgeist.
Yeah, no, I get
right?
that.
And I think it's very easy, I mean, with both brands that are so much about beautiful things and, you know, celebrating art and design and to
Life.
sort of, and life, right?
Life.
To just sort of, you know, put something there and it's pretty and put some headline that is some funny pun. And I think we've worked really hard to sort of make it feel connected to something.
Definitely you have.
Yeah.
And achieved that. Wow, well, congratulations.
Yeah.
Is that the oldest living magazine?
It is,
I mean, God bless you.
It is. I mean, there are like volumes from 1901 and
That's kind of incredible. History is always repeating itself.
yeah, or it's always just at least something that gives you some kind of launching pad.
It's a roadmap.
Yeah, roadmap.
It's a
totally.
roadmap.
Yeah. And what about you? What?
We are about to install a very big project in Mexico City,
Ooh.
which I am so excited about. And that's really all I can say.
Okay.
But
well, I'll be
I'm
asking
super
you more
excited.
about it.
Like the funny thing about Mexico City is that one, it's an explosion of design
Yes.
and craftspeople, and it is really one of the most elegant places I've ever been. Like all thoughts go to Mexico City at the moment
Yeah.
for me. A friend of mine took me to Maxime's on a Tuesday night. Snap, crackle, pop.
Yeah.
Everyone was beautifully dressed. Everyone was like elegant. It felt like I was like New York in the 80s.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like it's back.
Yeah.
And like it really felt glamorous and elegant and exciting. And I love that feeling that New
Yeah.
York gives us. And that's why I'm living here
Yeah.
myself.
Yes. No. And like going out is why we live here, right? Going to theater, going to
Completely.
museums. Like if you're gonna live here, do it.
Completely.
Otherwise, it's
What's
tough.
the point?
Otherwise,
What's the
it's
point?
tough.
What's the
So
point?
no,
You
I mean,
know?
I feel so strongly about that. Like we live here for a reason. Take advantage of every single one of those reasons.
I know. I started by thinking, like, Stellene, you make it fun, you make it curious, you make it slightly edgy, but there is this kindness about you that I love. And I'm like, I'm always interested, but never, like, offended. Like, there's certain times where I'll read stories in other magazines that will go unnamed, and I'm like, oh, those poor people. Like I never have that. I always walk away just thinking, well, that was fun. I feel good in your presence and feel good in your stories.
I love fearlessness, the fun of it, and I think the deep knowledge that is sort of in every room that does not sort of like show itself off as like I am so knowledgeable and I know everything, but it is the layers sort of tell that story. You know, for me, I don't have a story unless I have a headline.
Right.
And you have sound bites that also it's this ability to sort of see things and name them, and that's sort of a clarity of vision that I think I love in your work as well.
Thank you, God.
Thank you for joining us in the Culture Lounge. We're so glad you're here. Each episode is a carefully curated conversation, a celebration of the arts, ideas, and people that make life more beautiful. We hope you leave with a little more of that beauty today. New episodes arrive every other Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern. Listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and be sure to subscribe so you never miss what's next.